on the computer. We are going to go live on Facebook. I have to talk myself through it. Okay, so now I need to sign in. Why are you playing games? Not on my timeline. Share on a page we manage. Nope, nope, nope. We share in a group. Settle down, boo. There we go. Boom. Thank you for your support on the socials. I've been heads down, so I don't know if there were any comments or anything. So I apologize if that did happen. So prepare yourself. This is where we smile for like 6 minutes. Okay. All right, pups. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh, you look so cute today.
Really?
Oh, professional Gigi.
I had to, because I was like, I just went surfing this morning and my hair wasn't like laid. So I was like, let me wrap it up. Then I was like, let me put on my Prada sweater and like
Hello,
button it
hello,
up.
somebody. We
Button it
got
up.
we got the Prada. We got the Prada. A whole lot of
A whole lot
Prada.
a whole lot of. See, the shenanigans have already started.
Oh, listen, I'm sleep deprived. All the things, because of course, Mr. Man sleep all day. Um, if there's a delay,
The,
so
the link that you sent me an email for Zoom, that's the link that everybody accesses
no, they have to watch it in the group.
in the group.
It's to drive people to the group. Join us for join us as we stop it. Okay. There we go. Go live. All right. Look pretty.
Got to get some water.
Look pretty.
Grab my water really quickly.
Go for it. We're doing our best over here. We're doing our best.
Now,
So for the people that are already tuning in, we always, if you're rewatching this, we recommend that you fast forward through the first 4 minutes because that's just getting our tech together.
and hair and makeup.
Hair and makeup, yes, girl, you look fabulous. Thank you.
Lives.
Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for America. Thanks you. America thanks you. Hey Maggie. Hey Monica. All the things.
Hey y'all.
Maggie, Dante's in my lap. He's got the wiggles, so he'll probably be making a special guest appearance. Okay. Oh wait, no, he's asleep. Never mind.
I love it.
Okay.
So I did one of the questions you asked about what books am I reading. I actually do have a very
Okay. Yeah. Leaders are readers. I always like to ask that one. You know.
Yeah.
Hey. All right. 2 minutes and counting. Look alive.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. Keto Williams, you're on.
Oh yes.
Is this live? Like people are actually on?
Yes, people are watching you right now.
Try to spit Dougie Fresh.
Yes.
That
yes.
just right.
Yes, people are watching you. Quote Dougie Fresh, circa late 80s, whatever that is. Yeah. 2 minutes and counting. Oh man, thank you for joining us. I'm just so excited. This is just so exciting. You know, it's just I got a Wonderkin on. This is amazing.
I love it.
A Wonderkin that I actually know.
Wait, tagging, do it.
Oh, hey, Catherine. One minute and counting.
The screenshot you tagged us on.
Listen. We just do what we can do.
Shenanigans.
20 years. 20 plus years of shenanigans. Well, we had 22, 23 years of shenanigans. Yes. I always feel like you were the front runner of the shenanigans. Every now and again, I ring led a few of them.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
oh, 1 minute and counting. With your surfboard in the back. Oh my goodness, you're just giving all the things. All the things. I
Like,
just can't even. I'm
sorry.
like gushing when I should be like professional right now.
Like, what
I'm like,
part of
hey, you got your I'm a smart lady glasses on. Like you just negotiated a multi-million-dollar deal. That's what you look like. Get into it. Okay, 3 p.m. on the dot. Everyone behave yourself. We're with it. Show starting now. Show starting now. Everyone fast forward to this point. I am Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully, and welcome to the 5 Days of Focus Live. This is a special show that we do for our 5 Days of Focus group. So this is exclusive content. You get it first. You get it hot off the presses first, and then we share it with the rest of the world. So I just want to welcome our community and really remind you that we are doing another challenge and we're going bigger and better on this challenge. And that starts on October 12th. So you know why we choose October? Wait for it. It takes 33 to 66 days to develop a new habit and 90 days before you see results. So we're talking New Year's in October. So if you're trying to bring it for 2021, let's recalibrate and get started in October so that you have the rhythm you deserve when 2021 starts. And it's less of getting ramped up and seeing results in March of next year. Let's get started in October so that we can move with the spirit right into 2021. And so there will be lots of bonus content. We have referral contests. So look below. We have a referral contest where you can actually win 45 minutes of coaching with me and a group of your friends as the prize. I know, like, or you could just hang out with me for 45 minutes. I don't know. So we have a referral contest going on. And if your first name begins with the letters A through K, Monica is your concierge. So Monica, go ahead and wave at everyone. If your first name begins with the letters L through Z, then Maggie is your concierge. I always have to say it like that for Maggie. She likes when I do that. So say hello to Maggie. Look for friend requests from each one of us and look for direct messages. We'll be walking you through the process and helping you get registered. You definitely want to get registered for the 5 Days of Focus Challenge, and that's at successbully.com/challenge. And it starts on October 12th. So you definitely want to register to begin with so that you get your workbook and all the information you need so that you can kick butt during that sprint with us. So now that I've made all the announcements, I'm going to do my best to keep my mascara firmly on my face.
oh,
You know, I have a rapport with most of our guests, so they're like friends, clients, all the, a mix. But Gigi and I have been friends since the first week of college. So we've been friends, we're going to tell our age right now, since 1997. We didn't have cell phones when we started college. We had Ethernet cables that plugged into the back of your desktop computer.
laptop. What is
We
that?
used to go to the computer lab when we needed to print things. And we went to the library and used a card catalog.
Right. With the Dewey Decimal System.
We were familiar with the Dewey Decimal System, and we've known each other that long. We've known each other longer than flip phones. So
We still look good.
it still look good. Haven't cracked a bit, girl. You look better. That's what money and success does for you. You look better than you did in your 20s. Okay, so this is going to be a giggle fest. I'm going to pre-apologize for that because this is what our conversations usually sound like. And so hold on. I'm going to read your bio and I'm going to do my best to not get all emotional because you got to remember, I was part of the storyline as all this happened. We were, crying, laughing, and joking with each other all along the way. So welcome to our special guest, GiGi Lucas, who is a citizen of the world. She has over 18 years of experience in global brand design and international expansion. She's helped brands like Nike, Kate Spade, Carter's, JCrew, and all the who's who in retail and integrated marketing. She's used her visual skills and keen eye for branding to help businesses drive their bottom line. So as a consultant, you need some expertise around visual design, brand positioning. Gigi is your go-to. As an advisor and a consultant, she has leveraged her experience and expertise to guide over 35 startups. We should actually make that 36. I feel like you've been in on this one too. And she has worked with the Entrepreneurs Roundtable Accelerator in New York, Deck in Dallas, and Canvas in Orlando. So if you need some advice to scale your startup, you know what to do. Most recently, Gigi has combined her passion for the ocean with her professional experience to increase culture and gender diversity in the surfing industry. And that is through the representation in media, retail offerings, and in the water. She, along with three other women, have co founded a collective of women of color surfers called Textured Waves. To date, the organization has been featured in major media outlets such as Vogue, Surfer Magazine, Surfer Journal. It's a whole thing. I've been calling Gwen a Hollywood because she's getting all famous on me. In 2018, Gigi officially launched a nonprofit called Surfear. Did I say that right? SurfearNEGRA, with the singular goal of diversifying the lineup by democratizing the sport of surfing to make it accessible to any kid, anywhere. All the things. I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you, and I'm so blessed to be your friend. And I'd just like to have been part of the journey since we were rocking straight hair, and you had a lot of midriff going on in the 90s.
Uh, still do.
Still do. A lot of midriff was happening in the 90s. We're like, why is your stomach out? It's cold out. In Chicago, we're crop tops all the time.
Exactly.
So I would love to hear from your own perspective. Like, tell us a little bit about your backstory and how you shifted from corporate to the nonprofit world.
Man, well,
I know.
It's a whole lot of information. So I'll give you the abbreviated version because that's like 20 years in the making, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll start with college, right? So came in pre-med. We thought we knew what we were going to do. We clearly did not. And one of the things that I knew that I loved was fashion. I mean, you knew what I looked like and what I wore throughout college. And usually people were like, what is she doing? But
what is she wearing?
Exactly. What is she wearing? But it actually ended up being to my advantage because I just, on a whim, decided to move to New York, hustle my way up. I mean, I was an unpaid intern at Kenneth Cole, delivering Japanese food with a Northwestern degree, my first 2 years in New York. And, God took the wheel. So I spent 15 years there. And the higher I got, the more I became aware that there weren't very many people who looked like me, and there weren't any initiatives in place to change that at the time. And it just got to a point where I decided enough was enough. I was sitting in board meetings with white men making decisions about how women and minorities, not even minority, but people of color, because we're not the minority, people of color were to spend their disposable incomes and not listening. So when a sequence of events happened, I ended up getting a nice little package and had some free time on my hands and decided to start my own company to focus on working with organizations that actually wanted to change and that could change. So that was kind of like the demarcation point, the end of corporate. During that time at home and consulting, I decided at the time that New York was a lot and I wanted to change my environment, and the environment ended up changing to Costa Rica. And spent 5 years in Costa Rica learning how to surf, simplifying life. And then that crazy thing popped up again, like, why am I the only one? Mm-hmm. So the difference was in corporate, it was like a massive shift that would take a long time to change. But when I was in Costa Rica, I realized like, no, I can make an impact right now. So that's how SurfearNEGRA was born. And here we are, 2.5 years later now, doing it.
And so how long were you thinking about it before you were like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump. I'm going to do it.
Not long. I mean, as you know me, like the minute an idea comes in, I'm like, okay, how can we make this happen? Because I don't want to waste time just thinking about it, right? I want to know like if it's executable or not. So the original incarnate, I would say V1 of SurfearNEGRA was actually just like a social media platform for women of color to like come together and share tips and techniques in terms of where to go, what breaks to go to. But I realized really quickly that there were a couple of other people who were doing it and doing it fairly well. But then I also realized that, you know what, in order to make sustainable change in the surf industry, we needed to start with the next generation and to show them that this is something that's accessible and possible for them. And between that time of the first iteration V1 to V2 was probably about 6 months. And then it was another probably 6 months to actually go through the process of getting our 501c3 ruling.
Yeah. So I think that that speaks to, like, this is something that I'm always like yelling from the mountaintops about, that the imperfect action trumps perfect inaction every time. That, you know, I think that successful moving to New York shortly after you was one of the first times I didn't overthink something. I did not have a plan. So the great penning that great story. I visited Gwenna in New York one weekend. Went home, quit my job. That was career number 1. I was in pharmaceutical sales. Now we're on like career 5.
Yeah.
And moved to New York on a whim with a suitcase and a dream, and took a train from Chicago to New York and showed up in Penn Station.
Oh man, I remember that. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this?
Sure, why not? What's the worst that can happen? I come home. And what, like 11 years later, I moved to Seattle. So yeah, there's a great storyline on how we provoke each other to take action.
Yes.
But I think that when you have these great ideas, I think that what I see a lot in my practice is that overthinking it, wanting it to be perfect, or feeling like, what if you fail, or what if it's successful? So we call it the FOSSers, the fear of success, and the FOFFers, who feel fear of failure, where they won't even get started. So like, do you feel like that was an example of that, or that you kind of had that theme ongoing in your life of take action?
No. For sure, no. No, I was very much a perfectionist, and like even in meetings for the longest time, I wouldn't say anything unless I knew 150% that it was right and that no one could refute me. But what I also learned through that time was that sometimes, no matter what you say, there will still be people or forces or things that are not for you, right? So it's like you spend all this time preparing, and then you finally put out to the world, and like people don't receive it the way that you think it would be received. So I'm like, you know what? Instead of limiting my potential and wasting my time trying to prepare for what other people think, why not just do it? And then whoever wants to get on board gets on board, and whoever doesn't. If I fail, it happens. I'm still here. If it's successful, great, it's happened. I'm still here. So it's just a matter of like going with your gut, following your nose, and not being afraid.
Oh yeah, I think that. Well, I think that courage, but also like do it scared. You don't have to have like you only need like 30 seconds of actual courage.
Right. It's that.
Like it's 30 to 45 seconds to go yes, right?
Right. And you know, the thing is that like fear and courage, I feel like, are highly overrated. I think the one thing that you actually should embrace more is a sense of humor. Because like if you can laugh through your fear, if you can laugh through your courage and not take yourself seriously, I promise you that you go so much further. It's healthier for you. And then people actually want to engage with you. You know? So
Oh yes. So having been part of the storyline for over 2 decades, I am so proud of you, because you have hit this stride. You've hit this stride where it's like the behind the scenes, like having got the phone calls with the I don't know what we gonna do, and you throw this out there into the world, and now it's not just getting started, it's growing. Right? There's and there are growing pains when you grow. So you've had this incredible momentum. So tell us what the last few months have meant for you and your mission.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, in any business, there are controllable variables, or variables that you can see, and then variables that just come out of nowhere, right? And the variable, I feel like that was probably the catalyst for a lot of things that have been happening, was the Black Lives Matter movement. And it wasn't that, you know, the need wasn't there. It wasn't that like the work hasn't been done throughout all this time. It was just the awareness around it. And so with that newfound awareness, all of a sudden we have these eyes on what we've been doing for the past 2 years. And people are like, oh my gosh, yes, this makes sense. Oh my gosh, yes, this is needed. And it's been incredible. It's been interesting managing, not necessarily the resources that come in, but the people capital, like the
Yes.
people who are like, put me to work now. That's been very difficult because some people do it for sensational reasons. Some people do it for emotional reasons. Some people do it for savior complex reasons.
Right.
Some people do it for the right reasons. So it's just a matter of getting the right people on your team and actually to be able to scale. So to answer your question in short, what we've been doing is just like parceling out the different components that are needed for SurfearNEGRA's growth, figuring out how we can partner and with whom we can partner with to make sure that the resources are there to grow, but also the manpower is there to manage it, execute it, and then to sustain it. Because the last thing we want to do is start off with a pop and then end with a fizzle.
Right.
So that's one component. And the other component, honestly, is developing this team of highly intelligent and creative people to advise, right? Because coming from the for-profit world and going into the nonprofit world, it's a huge learning curve. There's a lot that I don't know. There's a lot that our team needs to grow and be trained on. And so it's a matter of like taking our innate abilities, taking our passion for our mission, and then marrying it with that experience that we can get from our council.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, just phenomenal. It's bittersweet that it would take a complete, an almost race war
Yeah.
to to be a catalyst um, for growth. However, I've seen you like handle that with such grace and such maturity, but also even being able to say, the learning curve is there, and there's a lot for us to learn and grow. And I think that that is important for any goal getter, whether you are starting a side hustle, you're scaling, you're already in the game and you're scaling, or you're pivoting, that it's okay to not have all the answers. It is okay, but surround yourself with people that do have the answers, right? And like for me, um I very much believe in coaching as a coach, and so I invest in coaches that have been to the mountaintop. So
Yeah.
all of my coaches are millionaires. They have $1 million practices. I am not getting mentored by people who are in the same shallow water as I am. I'm not paying to commiserate. I invest in people that can actually take me there. And even as far as like mentorship and who is in my direct circle, like I am glad that we're in each other's circle, because like there is something to be said about having your friends that are pace cars.
Yes.
That we're not dragging each other to the finish line. We're running either alongside of one another, or something. You ahead, all right, girl, keep going. And I can't tell, and like there is something to be said about who you surround yourself with during these life, but also as you're building your big dream and investing in your passion. Like nothing like this existed before. So there's not a handbook.
Okay, so
There ain't no handbook.
this is the thing. This is the thing, right? And I'm so glad that you mentioned the coaching piece, because I firmly, wholeheartedly believe in coaching. And even if it's not from you, which I highly recommend, it's from Kita and Successfully.
There
But
you go.
the thing, plug, but
Plug. Shameless plug.
no, but real talk, it's a matter of like when you're training for a race, when you're training to do something you've never done before, you need someone outside of you to see the potential in terms of what you're capable of doing, and people who are outside of you who, like you said, have actually done it, who have the experience and who know the pathway to get there. And a lot of times in entrepreneurship, as you know, and as most entrepreneurs know, it's a very lonely road. I mean, you're
Yes.
up sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning because your mind is racing, not in a bad way, but because you're thinking of all the different ways that you can create this vision and make it come to life. But sometimes you need someone outside of you to help to reel it in, to get you focused so that you can actually be impactful. And that at the end of the game, that's what business is about. It's about being impactful.
Oh yes. So this is always a great pivot.
Pivot.
Well, thank you for this. Thank you for throwing that ball up. I'm gonna. So this is a great conversation about ruling your time, because I think that we have the tendency, especially as entrepreneurs, to be busy, 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 and there's like the burnout culture of if you are not working 21 hours a day on your business, you are not successful. So I want to kind of hand that over to you. So how do you protect your time? How do you structure your day so you're getting the most out of it? And what do you feel about the burnout culture?
Oh man. So it's been a challenge sometimes. You know what I mean? Because I call myself recovering type A. The thing that living in Costa Rica taught me is that simplicity is better, and there are forces that are working in your favor that you have yet to see that are going to like make it's going to be the pivotal moment or the pivotal element, right? So I always have to get up in the morning and remind myself that everything is going to happen in its due time. So that means that I don't have to conquer the world and build Rome in one day. So pretty much how I protect my time are two ways. One, I always reconnect with what gave me the passion in the first place, which is surfing. So I always make time for myself and by myself to surf because it grounds me, it brings me peace, it brings me joy, and it reminds me of why I do this every single day. The second thing is connecting, like really investing with my family and friends and those people who are in my like core circle, because they keep it real. They help keep things in perspective. And then I feel like when you're able to be grounded in both ways, both physically, mentally, and like from a relational standpoint, then you're able to make wise decisions about your day and how you spend your time. So that's how I start my day. I structure my time with, I delegate the first hour to the low-hanging fruits, the things that I can knock off really fast. Okay. Usually I use the technique of like preparing emails the day before, time them to send them out the next day, and if there's a quick response,
who I know. Taught you that? I don't know. Who would have taught you something like that?
Some random person.
I love how you said it like it was your idea.
Yes. So what I do is
so actually I have this technique with email. Like
I know. It's like, I remember you calling me and asking me how to do it.
Like I told you, like see the little button there, you hit the down arrow and you can schedule it.
So that's actually been extremely helpful, because then if somebody has a quick response, I'm able to like be quick with their response. And then I delegate no more than 2 major projects a day. So I have to overestimate my time that I'm going to spend, because the way that I think is very in depth. So whenever I have a major project, I want to make sure that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. So I make sure I just relegate myself 2 major projects a day. And then during the lunch hours, I make sure I touch base with my team.
That is so awesome. I love it. Well, like, I think that's the, I do believe in like that I have 90 minutes of Kita time before I deal with anybody else. And like, that is my prayer meditation time. That's my workout time. That's my, talk to my mom, touch base. And then I start my day. And I think that that's so important to keep the connection, but also like there are times where I need that quiet, where I need that still voice. I need to be able to hear, to hear my gut, or that little internal whisper of, hear God, hear my gut, what's the next move, because like the CEO is a lonely pathway. It is a lonely pathway, and there are a lot of people that'll jump to tell you what to do.
Yes.
And a lot of them are unqualified.
Yes.
But like, just I need that quiet time to kind of calibrate. And I plan my day the night before, so like I know where I'm going to start when I actually sit down to work. So amazing how 2 major projects a day. I like it. Well done. Go ahead. Okay, so let's talk about goal setting. So we know that, I don't know if you noticed, but the world's been like on fire, like literally, at least here in our neck of the woods. And so the whole world went topsy-turvy. How have you approached goal setting and achieving your goals since all that is 2020?
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm going to say, 2020.
No, I believe in agility and flexibility, right? Ooh. And one of the things that I've realized, especially as an entrepreneur for like startups, is that it does not behoove anyone to be rigid. And if there ever was a rigid person on the face of this planet, 2020 has showed you that it is not beneficial to be rigid. So in terms of goal setting, again, like this is another hack that I learned from Successfully, is that like you have to treat your goals like you wash your face. Like you have to look at them consistently. You have to revisit them. You have to recalibrate based on like what has been approved or what you've been greenlit on or what has been, you know, canceled or shut down. So that's how I've been approaching it. And again, like I try to be as realistic as possible, especially because my business deals with other people and their schedules and their comfortabilities with what's going on with COVID. So, so yeah, but to be honest with you, it's shown us and revealed that how we've built the model of our business is actually pretty spot on. Mm-hmm. And I think that comes from years of experience, like being rigid and not being able to move forward. So I thank God that, you know, as we were building the model and as we're beginning to scale, that it is a very agile model. And I highly recommend any business owner out there to remember, like, yeah, you might have a mission, but it's so important to be agile.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Because I think that if there's anything that COVID and just all that, 2020. 2020 has taught us as a business, and thank you to my lovely team, but that it forced our hand to do what we should have done anyway in terms of scaling. It was all the stuff that I was like, yeah, we'll get to that. I like, this is working, so why would we, you know, and to be honest, like, I think it's going to be best for all of us to do it this way, to build community, to reach more people, to kind of make this accessible from a content standpoint, that there are things that I can share without you, you know, investing thousands and thousands of dollars in working with us. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't, the what never changed. The what never changed. It's the how, and being flexible on how you're going to do it. And I think that especially in places and spaces like ours where you have to consistently be planting. You always have to be sowing. You always have to be sowing. You always have to sow seed because you never know when it's going to bloom. Every day you have to do something to move things forward. So like, it's really interesting. The stuff that's really popping for us right now are things that we planted last year, pre-COVID. Like no one even thought 2020 was going to look like this, right? Or like, oh, inbound requests like, oh yeah, hey, we saw you do this webinar. Can you teach for us? You know, we're all like, yeah, sure.
And you know, one other thing that it actually goes a little bit back to a question you asked previously about like the learning curve and like your knowledge and your wheelhouse, right? And how much you know. And the thing is that everyone has had to acquire and learn new skills through this time, whether it's technical, soft skills, whatever it may be. And I think that whenever building a business, it's important to stretch outside of your comfort zone. I mean, I surf. I'm a good surfer, but I'm not world's best surfer. Like I didn't come from like a lineage of surfers. But what I did do was understand my basic knowledge of surfing, build on that, surround myself with people who know that, and then also leverage my experience on how to build a business and marry it together. And I think that in these times, like you have to be that. Like that is called agility, right? Where you take what you know, then something happens where like you don't know, but you learn it and then you marry it.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm gonna get all emotional. I'm so proud of you. Hearts overflowing. Okay, so let's talk about this because my mom. This is my question from my mom to you.
From Bev.
From Bev. We call my mom the notorious MOM. She recently was promoted to CMO, Chief Mom Officer. So make sure you send her a card to congratulate her on that. But my mother wanted to ask you. Shout out to mom. Like, so how do you think with surfing being an Olympic sport now, how is that going to impact your mission? That's for mom.
Well, I hope it's impacted positively. That's the hope. I mean, granted, like to be determined with COVID and if it actually happens next year. But the thing that I'm realizing is that two things. One, with it being on the world stage, of course, is going to become more popular, right? People are going to notice it. And then two, with it being on the world stage, people are going to actually see the diversity that actually lives in surfing, especially outside of the United States. Because for the longest time, Australia and the United States were the drivers of what marketing posed as the aesthetic of surfing. When we all know,
skinny blonde.
Right. And which we all know now that's not necessarily true. So hopefully with, you know, the Olympics coming around and also our programming around it, that will, one, obliterate the stigma of what a surfer is and what it looks like, and then welcome more people, more genders, more cultures into the sport.
That's amazing. Great question, Mom. Say hi to
Great
Beth,
question,
please.
Beth. Thanks, Chief Mom.
Mom literally was like, "Could you ask when?" We did it. We did it. We did it. Our moms
Oh,
are proud.
sorry. One more thing, and this is
Uh-huh.
actually the most important thing, is the revenue model for surfing, right? I think that's going to change. Previously, it was one thing where the brands really supported the industry. And now I think that the revenue model can be changed dramatically, and it can come from a bunch of different sources and influences. So yeah, things are changing. Things are changing.
Oh, things are changing. Okay, so lightning round. These are questions that are about nothing in particular.
I love questions about nothing.
About nothing.
Usually what
Okay.
I'm talking about, nothing.
Okay. So, what are you currently reading?
Ooh, so I have two books on tap.
Okay.
I'll give you the serious one first and in a fun one second. So
Door ahead's open.
the serious one is Og Mandino's The Greatest Salesman in the World.
Okay.
My third time reading it. I highly suggest that everyone read it. Just great storyline, but I think it will impact everyone's life. And then the second book is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. And it's fictional, but not fictional at the same time, because you know somebody who lives this life, but it's about this wonderful teenager who is kind of coming of age and making decisions. And what compels me about this book is debating and contemplating your decision making and the consequences therein.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes you just have to go for it, and then sometimes you have to be logical and responsible. But it's an excellent book, extremely well written. It'll drag you right in. And I'm a very slow reader, and I'm already, like, I started 2 days ago. I'm almost done.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, random question about nothing. Number 2. Okay, so what's your signature dish? So when you cook, what is
Oh,
that you can slam dunk it? What is that dish?
oh my God, I have so many. But but if you want to get picky, I make a mean pot of greens.
Okay.
Mean pot of greens, and that pot liquor with some cornbread. What?
Okay. Okay. Just with
Yes.
the okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. So if you had to wear one designer until the day you died, who would it be? This is
Oh my God.
Gwenna
Just
used to dress
one?
me, just so
Just
you know.
one?
Gwenna used to pick out my outfits back in
I
college.
like, no, Peter, that doesn't go together.
What is
It
this?
would probably have to be Marnie, which is an Italian brand. And
Okay.
I just did it's one of those things when you wear it, you're like, what is she wearing? But I love it. The architecture of the clothing, the color usage, it's art. It's literally wearable art.
I love it. Okay, so here's this question just popped in my head. Last question about nothing. So when we talk about the creatives, because like you kind of ride the line of creative. Oh wait, hold on. We got a question. Hold on, I'm gonna give you one, and then you got a question from the floor. Hold on, this is interactive. um, what's I gonna say? Okay, so when we're thinking about it from a creative standpoint, because you kind of ride the line of being like a creative plus very concrete in that the execution, like you can go very creative, but you can also execute. So, what is your advice in terms of goal setting for our creatives?
Oh,
How would you approach it if you're creative thinking and all a thinker? I'm looking at Aramis. I think she was on. She is a creative based here in Seattle. She's a beautiful, wonderful painter. I saw her on earlier. But like, how do you approach goal setting as a creative?
that's a great question. Especially, all right. So if you're a creative and you're goal setting in context of a business,
Mm-hmm.
you have to quantify your actions, not what you produce, but your actions, meaning that you have to quantify how much your time is worth per minute. And then you have to quantify what your talent should be worth to get a return whenever you're working for a client or a customer or whatever. I think that is the number one thing that most creatives don't do,
Mm-hmm.
is quantify what they do. It's super
Okay.
important. It's super important.
Meow. Thank you. Okay. Question from the floor. Any advice for people who have made a career shift into a different field from their long-standing career? We've both done this. You go take first pass, Gwenna. Excuse me, Gigi. Her given name is Gwenna, which is what I call her since I've known
When
her
I'm in
since
trouble. Call me that when
that's
I'm in
her in
trouble.
trouble. 1997. Gigi is the rebrand for all of you new people.
The rebrand.
For
Um,
those of us who've been around for a long time, we can call her by her given name.
so the question was any advice for people who've had long-standing careers and are now making a
They're
shift?
making a shift into a new career.
Oh, um, I would say I'll work in threes. I'll say three things. The first thing is don't discredit your experience because a lot
Mm.
of times when we step into a new arena or new environment, we think we're coming to the table empty-handed. That is absolutely not true. The second thing is to yoke up with the superstars in the industry. So don't undermine and devalue yourself and just like start from the bottom of the barrel. Like get with the people who are doing it, who are influencing. And then the third thing is have fun. Just like relax. I was gonna say something that is like not PG, but you're gonna mess up,
Oh
right?
yeah.
You're gonna fall, you're gonna stumble, you're gonna say stupid stuff. But it's okay. It's okay. Always remember why you made that transition.
Hmm.
Always remember like all of the pros that brought you to that particular field and just have fun.
Oh, those are priceless. Ditto. That's
Oh, that's wrong.
that's right. Just to
That's wrong.
piggyback on what
All
Gwenna
right, to
said.
piggyback on what she said, I agree.
No, I think the important thing, similar to what you said about like don't discount your experience, but also like you've been here before. You're not a newbie. You're
Right.
not a newbie. You're not a newbie. You're not a rookie.
Yep.
You're not a rookie. And I think that um when I was first starting successfully, I had all this angst around, oh well, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
new coach. Well, the truth is, I I've been a strategist for a very long time. I have led and built teams for a very long time. I have put processes in place for a very long time. I've done that long enough to be considered a subject matter expert. I've done my 10,000 hours plus. And so, like, you are a subject matter expert. You have done 10,000 hours plus, right? And so, I think that that is the important thing to remember as well, that you're not a rookie.
And one more thing, and I don't know, like, the demographics of the audience here, but I think that women, especially women of color, we definitely make ourselves small when we go into new environments. And that's the one thing that I'm glad that the world is slightly changing. It's evolving. Maybe not to, our standard, but it's moving, right? But whenever you go into that new environment, like don't make yourself small. All the things that the world told you were weaknesses, whether it was empathy, your femininity, your race, whatever, those are actually your superpowers. So remember that when you go into that new environment and then leverage it for good, not for evil.
Okay, goosebumps. Okay, final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts. What is, if there was one nugget that you wanted this community to take away from this conversation, what's the one piece of advice you want to give our goal getters?
Mm. Um, that's a good one. I have a couple, but the one piece of advice is to always remember that you are more than enough.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't cry. Keep your mascara on, girl. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing. And I mean, I still, God willing, have a lot more left in terms of our career, Kita. Like we have a lot more left, but we've also experienced a lot of things. And being here, standing here right now and talking about what we're talking about and doing what we're doing, that is the one thing that I know for a fact that even though in those times where I felt like there wasn't enough, I didn't know it, we've always been enough and we will always be enough. Oh.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, wait. We got another question from the store. Ooh, from the floor. Everybody wants to talk to you.
Yes.
Because you're so relatable. Any advice for someone who just started their own business, but at the same time they're still working a full-time job, they're a full-time student? How can they jumpstart their business without feeling like a failure?
Oh,
Okay, so Gwenna, you take first pass because I got the
I know
next
you
one.
got a lot to say on that.
Okay, you want me to get it first? You want me to
You
go?
get
You
it
want me to
first.
set it up, and then you can
All
piggyback on
yours.
me? Here we go. All right, here it is. This is where having a compelling why is so important, because we just don't start businesses because there is a why. There is usually a moment in time, there is an aha, there is something, there's a reason why you started the business. And so having that compelling why will help you manage all those other pieces. And I think that having Gwen and I both done this, having been side hustlers with full-time jobs, demanding full-time jobs. I was on the road building Success Bully and recording podcasts in my hotel room in China. Like that it is a incredible amount of discipline. It's
Mhm.
discipline, managing your time, but doing something every day to drive your business forward. And like those things that you listed, oh, I have a full-time job, I'm a full-time student, those can easily turn into excuses. But what they really are your guardrails to manage your time. And you can rule the world in 2 hours a day running your business. That's
Mhm.
all I got for you. Go ahead, Gwen.
Yeah.
Gigi.
I to piggyback on what? No, I'm just kidding.
Just I second that.
To piggyback, I think along with that, level setting expectations,
Mhm,
right? Because I think a lot of time people want to see results fast, especially when you're building a business. And
mhm,
when you have all of that going on, you have to manage your expectations in terms of what you can realistically accomplish during
mhm,
any given set of time. Because if you are able to do that successfully, then you won't have burnout. You won't feel like a failure. You'll just know that it's part of the game and it's part of the process. So just really think about, and here's the thing, it's not about just you thinking about what this is and how you're going to execute it, but you need to like get a consult of people around you to bounce your ideas off of them and get that outside opinion to also consider. Because a lot of times we're unrealistic in terms of what we think we can do.
Oh yeah, I definitely think. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Gigi. I think it's important that get real clear about how you make money in your business,
Oh,
because you
yes.
may be over rotating on things that don't matter,
Mm-hmm.
and you're wasting time because you're focusing on things that you think you should be doing as opposed to what you actually need to do to
Right.
make the money. And so, like, that's a deeper, broader conversation
Yeah.
for another day.
That's a very good point because
Mhm,
especially if you're thinking about, as Keita would say, eclipsing your full-time job with your business, and so that you'll be able to transition out of your business. Yeah, you cannot over rotate on things that don't make money because that's just time, and time is money. So
mhm.
you got to make sure that you're getting your return.
Oh yeah, it's your non-renewable resource.
Yes.
It,
Amen.
it is a non-renewable resource. So yes, I hope that answered your question, Jess Beth. Thank you. That was a good one. Yes, be realistic. Also, the last thing I'm going to say on this is you are always working 90 days into the future.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're thinking about what, it doesn't matter what type of business you have, even with what we're doing working on right now, we are the bit we catch up. We're 90 days. What we're sowing right now is probably going to pop in 90 days. So the habits that you're creating around your business, the follow-up mechanisms, all of that stuff, it's really not going to start clicking and firing for 90 days. So be patient with yourself, give yourself grace and space. So Gigi, where can people find you? How can they donate? What would you like them to do? Because like you are running a nonprofit.
Yes, I am. Yes, we are. You can find us. You can go to our website, check us out at www.surfearnegra.com. That's surfearnegra.com. All the information is on there. Also, follow us on Instagram. There's so much like nuggets. Like our social media manager is incredible, and she's really developing a community of like information and communication, and it's really intriguing in terms of inviting people in the water. So follow us on Instagram at SurfearNEGRA. And then if you want to email me, simple, gigi@surfearnegra.com.
Okay, we'll put all of that in the comments.
Thanks.
So thank you, Gigi. It has been such a pleasure, and I'm just so absolutely proud of you. And I gush when looking back on, like, I remember when this was an idea. and you remember when this was an idea, right? And being able to, get out of our own way, get into action, weather the storms, because it wasn't sexy all the time. It
No,
wasn't sexy all the time, but
no.
it has been so awesome to watch you stretch and grow, and to like you compete with no one but yourself, right? And so I am so proud of you, and I am so grateful to be in that tight circle of your tight circle, your tight community. So yes, definitely follow Gigi on Instagram, support her nonprofit, and she will probably be making some guest appearances in the coming weeks because I always loop her into my shenanigans. It's been 20 years of shenanigans.
I can't get rid of me.
Why stop now?
I know. 20 years. A
So
lot.
hold the line for a second. I'm going to close this out. Once again, I am Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. Thank you for joining us for the 5 Days of Focus Live. Always, this has been such an amazing experience. Thank you for our lovely guest. If you are interested in joining us for the 5 Days of Focus Challenge, that starts on October 12th. We are next leveling because it's New Year's in October. We want to finish 2020 strong and catapult ourselves into 2021. Please register at successbully.com/challenge and look for your concierge. If your first name begins with the letters A through K, that is Monica. If your first name begins with the letters L through Z, Maggie is your concierge. All right, y'all. Let's get after it. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.